like to do the 03. So the mic is hot now.
All right.
So you can say hello to everybody. So this is, what is this? This is after hours online streaming that you're hearing. And I have here sitting next to me, Elvin Jones. No, I don't.
No, I'm not Elvin Jones. No, I'm Tim Herrmann, and I'm sitting next to Allen Herman.
Anyway, yeah, he's sitting next to me, and I'll be nice and I'll show you the picture of him.
Love all
Here we
this
go.
fancy technology.
Isn't that amazing? Here we are. Here's my friend Tim Herman.
It's good to see you,
Yeah,
Alan.
we know each other a long time, and it all started. I met him at the percussion at the
drum shop.
At the
Yeah,
drum
absolutely.
shop, the Professional Percussion Center. Now, not everybody knows what that was, what that is. So, I think we should start with. The percussion center was called the in place for drummers because that's what it was. I mean, all of the top professionals would do their business there because of Frank Ippolito, basically. Because Frank was a lovely man who loved the drums and especially loved drummers.
Absolutely. He also really went out of his way to take care, I think, of the older guys who he thought might be forgotten when they needed a little help.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things people didn't know about him, even when I worked there, when I would even go there as a customer, as a kid, on a Saturday. The guys were in there and they were had a little too much to drink the night before or whatever. He'd send me down the street to like Malfetta's, I think it was called,
right.
to get soup for the guys and stuff like, hey, I know this guy hasn't eaten in a couple of days. Go get him some soup. And he did that for, I don't want to, we'll leave out the names of who it was.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, they came in, sometimes they were hurting. And he really
he
went out of his way to take care of them. He truly cared for them.
Yeah, he loves the community of drummers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if he was alive today, he'd be ebullient to see what's going on, to see the networking and the connecting and everybody reaching out and trying to help each other. I mean, that's really what he was about back then in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, he was, let's face it, we knew him pretty well. He was unique. If he didn't like you, you weren't going to get anywhere with him. But you kind of had to go out of your way to make him dislike you, is how I saw it.
Is that Warrren?
I think that's Warrren.
We have a guest.
We have a guest.
Yeah. Well, he's a special guest, but we have a special guest.
We have an extra special guest, and hopefully he came on the short bus.
Hello. Great, thank you. Send him in. It's Warrren.
It's Warrren. So our guest coming direct from a hot New York Broadway rehearsal for something or another is Warrren Odze, who's a friend of ours also and still one of the workingest guys in New York City. So this is going to be a fun little chat, and we all used to hang, and we still do.
Say anything you want.
Come on in, we're on TV.
All right, here he is, Warrren Odze.
Oh, you guys are really demented.
We're really on TV, honest.
Yeah, this is
We're
This is a
streaming.
live broadcast, Warren.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the camera.
I'm not very alive though.
We'll sit
that's
right there,
okay.
you'll be live.
Really?
Yeah, sit right there. We're going to sit down
We're gonna make
here.
a dead archive of this.
Is that
one.
alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
He's
too,
alive. Yeah, that's lucky.
Yeah, he's just having a hard time these days. So
Where are you coming from? Where are you rehearsing from?
Warren, you got to move over so people can see you.
No, I don't want to be seen. Go over there. What are you kidding me?
You don't want to be seen?
No, I'm like I'm wanted by many government agencies.
Again?
Really? You think they found out?
What are you rehearsing for, Warren?
I'm filling in at the chocolate factory.
The chocolate factory?
It's a what was the name of that famous movie? Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka. Oh, Willy Wonka
Mark
and the
Shaman
Chocolate
made
Man.
a play out of it, and it's running in England. They're going to bring it here. I'm just filling in.
Gotcha. You're still doing...
An American Paris.
Oh, okay. So you're having dinner with us. Great.
No, I'm just grazing here.
Yeah, so you have a show? Do you have a show tonight that you're doing?
I have a show tonight.
What are you playing
An
tonight?
American Paris.
Absolutely great. Where is that located?
That's at the Palace Theater, which is which they're going to renovate. Did you hear about the renovation?
Yes, yeah, they I saw an article about
completely
that.
insane.
I don't think I like the idea at all. What's going to happen to the facade?
It's going to be 3 stories higher.
Well,
So they could put shopping underneath it.
They're
Right,
gonna
yeah, I
tourists.
know. I don't like this idea at all.
they're going to
That's-
put the
the Palace Theater, that's a historical.
yeah.
Who played there? Conan?
Judy Garland.
Judy Garland, yeah.
It's a government.
Everybody.
It's a landmark.
Yeah. How can they do that to a landmark?
Because
Yeah.
they're not going to destroy the theater, but it's weird. It's not attached to any walls. They built
So it's
everything around.
standalone.
It's standalone. So they're going to go, I think, an inch at a time. You know, they got all these scientific, and the guys who were doing it have $2 billion, $2 billion, and they just think that real estate's worth it to put.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
Well, that's what it's about. It's about money, you know.
It's always about money. So, you know, I don't know what that does to the future of the show.
Well,
Well, we're here to discuss Frank Shop and the history, and this is all streaming and getting archived.
Yeah,
So
I
you're the
love it.
perfect guy, since
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you from there
you've
also.
Been, yeah, you've
Now,
been to Frank's, haven't you?
Love Frank.
Yeah.
Phil Silvers.
You had the best story about Frank helping you. You had a when you were still in school,
Yeah.
going to Boston to
Yeah.
play or something.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell Alan that story while we're here?
So I'm in college, and I'm playing with Jackie and Roy while I'm in college. And I left school 2 weeks early to go with them to Boston. And my professors let me graduate, but I needed a mark tree.
Or pull it back a little.
And of course, I had no money. So we're talking old school here. I go into Frank's, and I go, Frank, can I have it? And as
There you
soon as
go.
I get paid,
Perfect.
I'll send you the money.
Yeah.
Totally cool. And I did, and he did. And I used to see him all the time. He used to come in when I worked at Jimmy Weston's with Bernie Lane.
yeah, that was his favorite place.
He used to come in with Jane all the time.
Yeah.
So I knew him pretty well,
Yeah.
besides the store. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
He was a great guy. Great guy. That was a real grown-up store. That
Yeah,
was a
it
store
was.
for grown-ups.
Yeah. it was-
Right?
I don't know. I mean, I started going there as a kid,
No, I mean,
teenager, but
in terms of the proness of it.
absolutely.
You know, whatever he had, it was pro stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't deal in, like, weirdness.
No, you didn't have student drums. And
No,
all
and
that.
Barry was like that.
Yeah.
Barry vetted out all the garbage stuff.
Yep.
If you bought something in his store, it was quality, right?
So, Jimmy brought this picture from the store.
And that's a famous picture. I love that picture. It's epic.
He brought me this copy. Isn't that nice of him?
Did I give you one of these, Warren? Do you have one?
I don't know if I have an actual thing like that.
I have it if you need it.
Let
I
me
had them recreated.
let me show them what this picture is. Now that I
There's people watching this now?
yes.
Yeah, we're
Where?
all over the world. We're on the World
You
Wide
want-
Web.
You want
Al Gore invented this. Come on.
you want to try to identify some of the people in these pictures?
Well, we could start with the obvious ones.
So the one
Well,
all right,
Bobby
top
Colombi.
left,
Yeah,
that's
Bobby
Bobby
Colombi.
Colombi. That's the first one. And who's he next to there?
It's not in focus enough for
Yeah,
me
I
to
don't
Yeah,
know.
I got. That's just the way I'm doing this.
Yeah.
If I stop moving around, it'll.
pull it back just a little bit.
Ah,
There you go. Center is it's Jerry Lewis,
that's Jerry
Gene
Lewis.
and Buddy, in the center. One.
To the right of what you're looking at.
Oh, this
Right.
one.
Yeah,
Oh, the center picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Gene in the middle, and that's Jerry Lewis.
that's Jerry
And
Lewis.
who's on the other side?
That's Buddy Rich.
Ah. Wow.
The fellow with the glasses below, that's in the white jacket. That's Frank Ippolito in the
Oh yeah,
peach colored
on the
shirt.
lower right. Let me try to get him centered.
There you go. That one with Morello in it's good because it's Morello.
Frank and Sonny?
So that's Sonny. That's Sonny and Frank
Uh,
in the middle now. I'm trying to get him in the middle.
what do I see? I don't see
Yeah,
Sonny there.
Who's that with Frank?
I don't know. That's not Sonny. There.
That's not Sonny?
No.
It looks like Sonny.
No, Sonny's down. Sonny's right here. That's Sonny.
Yeah, they can't see your finger,
Yeah, but just
but
so
I
you know.
can. So now I'm getting Sonny in the middle. Hopefully, here's Sonny.
Yeah. That's,
A very young Sonny. And there's Joe on the lower left.
Yeah.
There's
What
Joe.
year is this?
73. This is the party for Gene just before he passed.
73.
When they did the thing for
Right
Krupa.
before he died, huh?
So it would be when Buddy had Buddy's place in New York. The Zildjians were involved. So it's Armin Zildjian's here, Lenny DeMusio's in these pictures.
Let's find him.
How old is Buddy Rich there?
That's Armin.
This
She's 60
is
years old?
Armin with Buddy.
That's Armin and Buddy.
Armin Zildjian
And I don't know who's napping. It looks like Stanley.
Is that Buddy's real hair, or is he in toupee land?
I'm thinking that might be toupee land, but
Yeah, it looks like a toupee.
the picture of Papa Joe is Armin Zildjian.
This one now in the middle is Papa Joe, and who's that hugging him?
Is that Shelly Manne?
Here? It's Armin.
Above, with the guy with
That's
the...
Armin, above him? Is that
Above Joe Jones, that picture.
this one?
That's who that is. You're right.
Shelly Manne?
Shelly Manne.
And who's that guy?
With a
Is that-
mustache?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Boy, he looks familiar.
You probably should know. Is it Gallivan? With a haircut?
No, that's not Gal. Is it Gallivan?
Maybe with a haircut cleaned up. It could be Joe.
He looks too thin, though. Could it be?
No, Joe was thin. Maybe they show him in the video.
And he was tall.
Yeah.
I
I think Stanley was tall too, though.
Who else we have here?
You know, it's funny. Bobby Colomby, I've read this. He said, I don't know why these guys love
Henry,
me.
right?
Henry Adler?
I think so.
But Colomby always felt like, what am I doing
that
with
could
these
be
guys?
Henry.
Yeah, that's Henry. That's Lenny DeMusio.
Lenny DeMusio.
Jesus.
This Lenny with Papa Joe. I don't know who the other fellow is in there.
Which other fellow?
In this.
The guy we keep thinking is Sonny Igo?
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, but I
again.
mean, this is 73, so you're thinking about how Sonny looked in his 80s.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. He looks like
Now,
Sonny.
Back
but
here,
yeah.
Sonny would have been late 40s.
This Kathy Rich?
Yep, it's Kathy
Where was
Rich.
this party?
Kathy. Whoop.
Is this
One
like
of the
Friars
waves
Club or
was
something?
Kathy. I don't know where they did it.
Look
This
how-
is
look
after
how-
the concert up in.
Young
they
Joe
did.
looks. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And who's
Wow.
that with Joe? Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Wow.
And there's Sonny.
Yep.
Yes, there he is.
Yep. With Armin again. And I don't know who the gentleman is in the middle.
And what does that say? August 15th,
73.
1973.
I was 16. I was just a baby.
You?
Yeah, man.
73?
So,
I was in college. I was,
You would have been in.
I have to
I was in
thank you.
college.
I have to thank you for this picture.
You're very welcome.
This is a very historical.
oh no, that's epic, man.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
epic.
This
Epic.
is like
It's one of those things, they put the collage together of all the little pictures, as Frank told me, and everyone who attended had it. So, Sonny had it, Frank had it hanging on
party
the wall.
favor for the event.
I had shared some emails back and forth with Kathy Rich, making sure she had it. She goes, no, I definitely have it. She goes, I have it in color and black and white, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, little snippets of history. Because Buddy was real involved in that. Zildjian was. I think Slingerland would have been at the time, too. So I bet you the one guy in all those pictures is
The guy from
not Bud
Slingerland.
Slingerland. It's the other guy that went from Slingerland to Pearl, I bet you, that we used to interact with. They've all since passed, so I'm a terrible name dropper, so I'm not going to do well with that.
Does anyone know who all
my
those people
floor? It's
are?
full of names.
No. I had Adam look at it too. He picked out a couple people I didn't know.
But he didn't know who we think the guy's Sonny is.
No.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to find out.
Maybe that
who
guy's just somebody's friend. Maybe he's not a drummer or something.
Yeah, maybe it's.
Could be an industry guy.
Yeah, Gene's friend or something.
Sure.
Yeah. How old was Gene when he went bye-bye?
Well, that's right before he passed. So Gene passed in 73 or 74.
How old was he?
I don't know. I could ask my not-so-smartphone. It would tell me.
What did Gene die of?
He had cancer, didn't he? Some sort.
Well, I could look it up too. But
Yeah,
let's
we don't
not, let's
look
not get
up
into
that.
that. Yeah, let's get into the store. I mean, there was another aspect to the store besides all the people that came in to do business and that knew Frank. I mean, the store was it was a frontier for technology, for drum equipment as well. I mean, didn't you guys develop the original chain?
Yeah,
pedal?
Al did. Frank and Al both did a lot of development. I think Al, you'd have to say, is the father of quote-unquote custom drums, or customized drums. So if we're going to go back through this in history, Frank Ippolito was the second drummer on the Glenn Miller Army Air Force Band, World War II.
Good, yeah.
He did a lot of the repairs and fixing of things. Like when the plane went down and Miller passed, Ray McKinley went out front with the band as the leader. Mm-hmm. And he had those Radio King concert toms he used to play out front. We had those concert toms upstairs in the shop.
Wow.
In the case made out of bombshell casings that Frank made it out of on some ship.
Bombshell casings?
Yeah, it was literally like old metal left over from
the war.
From the war, made during the war, because you couldn't get your hands on stuff like that. So they just used some extra stuff laying around and riveted together and made the case for those drums. And they were still in that case. They were, I remember opening it up one day and asking Frank what the hell it was.
Wow.
Oh, what are these?
What years were you there?
I started, we were just talking about that. I started there when I was either 19 or 20 years old, so probably 77 when I began. So I worked at the 50th Street store, off and on a few times. Frank didn't want you there all the time. If you had a gig, he wanted you the hell out of there.
Yeah.
He didn't want you to make your career out of working in his store.
Oh, okay.
He wanted it to be like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Onto a gig.
I didn't know that.
So I came and went a few times. I came back and helped when they moved it. So that was when the store moved from 50th to 8th.
Why did they move?
Landlord change.
When?
When we moved it, so it would have been 79, 78, 79 when it moved from 50th and 8th to 151 West 46.
Yeah. I visited it a couple of times in the old location, but I mostly remember the 8th Avenue location.
Yeah. Well, the 8th Avenue location we remember more because it was just plain cooler. It had
You had more space.
Had the vibe.
Yeah, and also you had a couple of floors. You had the upstairs. With
We had more
studios.
space on 46th Street because we had two
Oh, yeah?
2,500 square foot floors.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I remember the upstairs where the studios were.
Yeah.
Where
It was just cooler. I mean, the vibe was better. It was old school.
Totally,
it was
man.
smaller.
Old
it was
school.
tighter. When we moved to 46th Street, those two floors were an old drafting
Are you
firm.
done?
Yes.
So it was a big, wide open, more of a lofted space. So at 46th Street, you walked in and saw the showroom. Had a huge
guys want
showroom.
No, thanks.
No, I'm fine. And a much larger repair area and that sort of thing. But getting back to 50th Street.
Yeah.
And the making of stuff. So Frank was one hell of an inventor, designer on his own.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really, truly was. As was Al. Al had a background in legit percussion as a player, but his dad was a tool and die guy. So he knew how to machine and make things and draw the documents needed for a patent and that sort of thing. So yes, the conversion of the first chain pedal, go back to the old Camco Gretsch floating action pedal. I don't know who the hell really made it.
They used a leather strap.
He used the leather strap
Yeah.
and the cam because Elvin was breaking the straps all the time and Billy Cobham, and both those guys taught there back in this era.
Upstairs.
Yeah. That was what made them decide how to make something that wasn't going to break, and what came out of that was that sprocket in the bicycle chain on the pedal.
Mm-hmm.
And Elvin played him for a long time. I mean, that was the pedal he played because he wasn't busting up the straps. Billy's were a little different. Billy Cobham, he was snapping the footboards also because, it was Mahavishnu Orchestra time, and that was rough. So his footboards were machined out of aircraft aluminum by Al, off-site. And he wasn't playing a cast footboard back then. So I've not found a picture of it, but I've seen the pedals way back then. I remember Al showing them to me, in the place. It was a small area that he worked in, and he came in and worked a lot off hours with that stuff, but it was all templated up. He knew what he was doing. Paul Cambaro used to work there and help him out. Remember Paul?
Oh yeah, sure.
And Paul's out in California now. And Paul, all through high school, was there all the time. Glasses filthy, doing all the dirty work, sanding all the stuff behind the guys and doing the running around, which is where I started. I started, getting the stock from upstairs, not hanging out behind the counter. I started as the gopher guy. The mechanical aspect of it, I got because I grew up in the automotive business. You know, my family owned a garage. My grandfather kept FDR's hand-controlled car on the road.
Wow.
My father kept Eleanor's car on the road, and I remember Eleanor and her driver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a small town where I'm from back then. The area I'm from, Hyde Park, New York, grew in the 60s after IBM landed in Poughkeepsie. But until then, it was really a small rural town that a president happened to be from, and Frederick Vanderbilt had his summer estate up there. You know, it's just a Hudson River, small, sleepy fishing town back in the day. So for me, being a drummer, musician, whatever you want to call it, coming into this, I wasn't afraid of power tools.
Right.
Most musicians have no business putting a power tool in their hands. You know,
No,
they're going to drill right
no.
through their hand, they're going to saw a finger off.
It's a deadly weapon.
Yeah, right. Frank recognized that real early on, that I knew what the tools were, and he trusted me in the back.
Did he know how to do all those things?
Pardon me?
Did he personally know how to do all the drum store kind of things?
Yeah. Did he understand
know
what
that.
was going on back there when we changed the snare bed or edged the drum or anything?
Yeah, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Now, he would have gone after it a little different than me, because that's, you know, things change in the era. I didn't automate that stuff until 46th Street. We didn't automate the router coming up through the table or any of that stuff. That came on 46th Street. We didn't have room for that on 50th and 8th. And I learned that from Al. And Al was already gone from the shop. You know, I went over to a couple times to Hinger Drums when Al had left.
So
And sat and talked to him.
I left and went to Hinger. How long did he stay with Frank?
Well, he was with Frank from my knowledge of the store, early 70s, through about 75.
Well, 3 or 4 years he spent.
Probably more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's a couple of those designs that the patents were held on, they were co-held. You know, Frank and Al owned the patent on that chain
Yeah,
pedal.
because Frank understood them. Yeah.
Right, it was probably, my guess, and it's only an educated guess, would be that Frank funded the patent, and it's Al's design, and they shared
Well,
it.
who owns the
Yeah,
patent
that's what
now?
I would think. Yeah.
Well, it's null and void now, it's gone away, but,
It's old.
That's
It's
a
old.
very popular
Expired.
design.
right,
Chain pedal.
it's out there now, everybody's doing it, but
They sold it, didn't they?
Al wouldn't sell it until after Frank passed, and it's my understanding that he sold it to DW.
Okay.
But I don't know the true.
You don't know the exact
I
circumstances.
wouldn't know. I wouldn't be involved. But that's how I believe it went.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a long time, I converted these things by the gross. Those pedals, they just came in boxes, and you just lined them up and did them. Mm-hmm. Because we were the only source for the pedal.
Right.
So if a guy was going into, Frank's drum shop in Chicago, or going into the Hollywood drum shop to pick up that pedal, it came from us. Mm-hmm. It had the stampings were right on it. That was the Professional Percussion Center's patent.
Yeah.
I have a upgraded pedal that you guys did.
Yeah.
You took the regular strappy thing and put the.
But yeah,
I still have it.
was it me, or do you don't even remember?
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I've had
It's
one
old.
literally since junior high school. I have one of the first ones, and it's been modified a few times. I have a patent pending one. Because I used to go in on the train and hang out and talk to Al in the back. I liked it in the back area because you could see everybody. He was tucked in, so you could see who was coming through the door, who was going into Frank's office. You could see the counter from back there.
Were you around when when Frank or whoever was there turned those concert toms into Steve Gadd's design? To put the
No, that
bottom
was
heads
Al.
on?
That was
That
Al.
was Al.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind of innovative to Steve to think about that.
Yeah, well, they were pearls, and it's my understanding the only real change was the 10. That he had the 12 and the 14, and he put a head on the bottom of a 10 and staggered the lugs. And as I understood it, the bass drum was a fiberglass over wood.
I thought the fiberglass was a Gretsch. The white drums that he played, I thought the bass drum was a Gretsch drum.
Maybe.
I don't know. But it's kind of innovative to think he was looking for a sound.
That
and
sound, yeah, that was
get
Al.
the concert toms, put the bottom heads on,
Yeah.
It was kind of a cool
Yeah,
approach.
and it worked. That was the first of, closing up and getting that pitch
Well, the
bend
whole thing
out
with
of the 10,
a drummer using, classical cats always had the toms on mounts like that, but to put it on a drum set was kind of different.
Yeah, well, the 10 alone, nobody was using a double-headed 10.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know?
funny if you look at the old drummers.
I
They
use one now. Yeah.
the old
Because of
drummers.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old drummers. They did everything we do and more. Joe Jones had the floor tom
Over here, over
here,
there,
and then
yeah.
the snare
Absolutely,
drum.
absolutely,
All kinds
yeah.
of wacky, small size
Yeah.
drums, and everything was done already.
Nothing's been
I
rediscovered.
mean, who
it's
had
all-
the
I mean, it's
rack
all been re-
system?
it's all
What's
been
his name?
rediscovered.
Oh, they all had the racks going
The
around
rack.
everything back then.
What was his name? No, geez,
Chick Webb?
Yeah, Chick Webb had a rack. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was young, I never even heard the words bevelly edges. I never even heard this. But you guys knew of it. Were people doing it then?
Yes.
Bevel,
What is it?
Bevel,
What is
tell,
it?
tell them
Especially on
what
snare
is, what is,
drums.
what is he talking about?
So
Tell
he's
them.
talking about inside the drum, especially a snare drum. You have we're going back, we're 40s, 50s,
Yeah,
right?
the rim of the
Yeah.
drum.
Yeah.
So the shell itself is one, typically back then, a single ply of maple steam bent with a lap joint in it,
Yeah.
right? And then it had glue rings inside of it to keep it glued together and
Yeah.
round. It's a big edge, so there's a lot coming in contact with the head because you've got that big hunk of maple in there and a big thick piece of maple that is the shell, and it's rounded over. So the reshaping of those drums, to my knowledge, started in the 50s, where and it came about, I think, when calf heads were transitioning to plastic heads,
That makes sense.
and people were really looking for the drum to play well at the edge, and how are we going to change it and open it up and change the sound. So, I mean, I have I'm not a drum collector per se, but I've been left some other people's instruments over the years. So I have Sonny Igo's. It's technically a Radio King, and it's the one-ply drum. You wouldn't call it a Radio King. There's modern hardware on it. And my guess is it was done by Bob Grasso prior to Fibes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been completely machined inside, and that, 2/3 of that glue ring removed. And that shape reshaped, the edge moved out, increased the head area, make it play better at the edge, and then it was lacquered inside
But
to
Tim,
brighten it up even more, so it would play well at low volumes.
but do you remember guys coming in those days, in the 70s, and saying, "Oh, could you do the edges on my drum?" I
Yes.
never even heard these words.
Yes, yeah,
I
because
had no
Al was
idea.
doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was doing it by hand, but yes.
Because growing up, I think everybody, or 99% of everybody, you bought a drum set. 2 of the toms just always sounded great. 1 didn't.
Yeah.
And I never knew why. And now, in hindsight, it was probably because the edges weren't
Usually
good.
the edge or one shows maybe out of round.
Out of round.
There's a lot of things that can come into play. Today we can look at it easier. The other thing is the modern stuff, I gotta say this right without offending the whole free world, the newer stuff technically plays better. There's a reason to go back to old stuff, and I would maintain the best snare drum I've ever heard was a Ludwig from the 30s. But that's me and my
One of
ear.
those metal ones,
Oh yeah, the double strainer 5x14, super sensitive.
brassy thing. Or...
Yeah, nickel chrome brass, blah blah blah. Marvelous instrument when they're intact. Today, a true intact one, they're out there, but they won't be the same because the snares have changed. You can't. The snares were made out of a different material.
Yeah, the
Than,
materials are different. too.
everything's changed. That to me, that old wire snappy, when they went one step out of wire wrapped silk, when they went to the heavy, those snares sounded amazing at low volume and high. And even what we do today, I mean, let's face it, today we abuse a drum a lot more than they did back then, because those cats were playing on calfskin heads. They wouldn't dare come down and beat it to death like we think nothing of
It was
today.
another world, man.
Right. Those drums had they had a great sound, but they've been remanufactured. When we did the last get together, Alan's got the modern version of it.
I got a
From
Craviano.
Craviano.
It's really a superphonic recreation.
Yeah.
Done in Italy as
with
a
Italian
subcontract.
copper.
Yeah.
Well, the shell was made in Italy,
Yeah.
and he bought 50 and imported them, and then he made them to order until they were gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a wonderful instrument. It's an absolute mimic of the one I play from
Yeah.
60.
It's my drum. I've used
Yeah.
a superphonic my whole life.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy
Superphonic?
one now. Yeah.
You mean the regular 5-inch one?
Yep.
Yeah,
tie and
5-inch.
snares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You've played mine. when you sat in.
You want to
and played
see it?
my
I got it.
drums.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Here it is.
But they're not as good. The new ones are not like.
No, new ones, but the one he has is.
Yeah,
I had a great one from the '60s. Someone stole it.
Yeah,
It's
63 was the last window of them. 60 to 63.
I had one from '67, but it was great.
But that wouldn't have been brass. That would have
Wasn't?
been Ludaloy or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what he's talking about.
This one's actually copper, which copper brass almost the same. Copper, brass, bronze.
Now, so
they're gonna
here's
sound about the
a
same.
bonus question: was Joe really a partner or a spiritual
No.
partner?
Spiritual partner. I love that.
Oh,
Frank
yeah,
would tell Elvin.
We should show the video.
We'll show
now.
the video. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Elvin,
We'll get back to it.
Was that
Spiritual
swing
partner,
movie,
too.
Born to Swing?
Yeah, he's got the video.
I got the video set up. I want to show everybody.
Now, where was that in Frank's? That was in upstairs?
No.
Yeah. The video's done on 8th
The
Avenue.
jamming and all of that?
Yes.
Wow,
it's
look at
upstairs.
that. What the hell is that?
That's the
That's
the drum we're talking
Fabiano
about.
Italian copper.
Italian copper.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell already. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It plays just like the one I play.
wow.
Here's a drumstick.
But it's not $100 snare drum.
Was
Yeah.
it $1,000?
Probably $2,000.
What?
2,000.
I'll give you 500 for it now.
Sold.
All right, 400.
No, won't take more than 350.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's a great instrument.
Yeah.
You want me to put it on a stand for you?
No, what, are you kidding me? I'm a genius. I know what it sounds like. Put it on a stand.
Yeah, that's a
Boy,
great
this is
instrument.
something to schlep around, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a
mine
heavy
too.
drum. Well, I don't do that anymore. I don't schlep drums anymore.
How heavy is that stuff?
They never leave the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, mine's a little heavier, and it's also he's got his own snares being made, so he's got a good length and angle on the ties of these snares, so that they lay in flat on the head where they should. Most guys, the problem you're having with your snare drum is the snares start to lift off right here.
Yeah, why is that?
They're the wrong width or length for the dimension of the snare bed that creates the curve in the bottom head, is what usually does it. So you need them to pull into the head a little bit without choking the head, which these do. You can tell just by looking at it.
So, Tim, when Joe was hanging out there, how old was he? When that movie Swing was made?
Well, let's show
Well, put it
everybody.
up. It's
Let's
gotta
put the
be
movie
about
on.
about 72.
Before you start talking about it, let's let everybody in on it.
Yeah, because we know the
Yeah,
rest
we know
of the web
what
might
you're
not
talking
know.
about.
The
but-
other thing is, did Frank make money?
Yes.
He made a lot of money?
I don't know. I mean, Frank was a smart
I
businessman.
mean, he used to come to Jimmy Weston's all the time. That wasn't cheap.
No, and he lived on the east side, and
They
So
lived in
this
some
is
place.
the.
someplace, yeah.
That's the picture.
Oh, you got it. Papa Joe Videos, probably that one.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't see. I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, you missed.
Well, you're up
One
to
more
Andy
up.
Zoo.
That's Buddy Rich. That ain't
Oh, yeah. The thing ran the list.
it. Yeah.
Boy, he was good.
So where was it on the
he
list?
he did a little something.
I feel
Buddy?
bad for people who never got to see him live.
Yeah.
You can watch these videos forever. When you're in the room, and that tsunami's coming at you.
Oh yeah, it's holding on.
It's
the world.
just euphoric, man.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
euphoric.
I got to reset the software. I think.
So how many years was he in the 8th Avenue thing? You know?
Well, my knowledge of him came there in '72, but they were already there for a while. He bought. There's an article he's got posted from who he bought the shop from. The shop originally, I was never in the original, was a walk down, and it was a couple blocks below there.
Wow.
So to me, I only know it from the 832 8th Avenue shop, the one at the corner of 50th and 8th, and then 46th Street. But there would have been 3 locations, not 2. So, but I can't tell you when, that's before my time. You got me by a couple of years, and you're
Yeah.
from New York. I'm from, 2 hours north.
I remember he had always had, a lot of K's and stuff, but then he would give them back. He would, go like Barry did. He'd get a load of cymbals, and then the ones that sucked, he'd just send them away. Am I
Yeah.
thinking right?
Got it.
Probably, but some of them, in the long run, we ended up
Okay,
hanging out.
okay, fellas. Let Joe speak.
Here we go.
So this is the studio here, right?
This is upstairs on 8th Avenue.
See, You have the bass, drum, the snare drum, the two tom-toms, two cymbals, and
Those were Elvin's
Joe Jones ever heard
drums,
me
and that's the snare drum.
somewhere in Minneapolis. And when I told him how much I enjoyed his playing, he said, well, man, I was trying to play like you. And here I am trying to play like him. So I know that every opportunity I would visit with Joe to pick up what I could.
I'll tell you right now, it's the 60s.
I like to think that
Yeah,
he
for
felt the
Gene.
same way
Metrophone.
about me.
I'm looking at the holder on those drums. I don't know
Joe,
if that's Metropole. I
to
think
me,
that might be his house.
being a drummer,
Really?
is the sound
Because
of
it looks like
concrete. I'll roll to that.
It's got a bunch of stuff behind it.
strange as it might seem, you might come into the shop, and there's a clarinet player, there's a saxophone player.
There you go. That's it.
Guitar player, because they have to know rhythm patterns too. You see, I don't care who they are, they have to start with the drum. And they real loud from the drum. They're not going to a pianist to get it, because the pianist has to take it from the drum.
Joe Jones is the grandfather of modern drumming and is perhaps the world's greatest living drummer, certainly of his era. His snare drum roll has been likened to the pouring of hot fudge over marble, a comparison that suggests the easy humor of his style. Not a drummer who ever incorporates volume as part of his technique, the most strident effect in Jones's percussive inventory are his rim shots, likened to the firing of a hail of bullets at the soloist's feet. Another apt comparison this, since Jones
That's the
started his
shot
life
from
in music
the-
as a dancer.
Yeah.
He works
I'm sorry,
regularly
it's coming
around
up
New
now.
York, still
Is the,
tours abroad and makes records. But these days, his first priority is to the drum shop in which he
And
was
this is a great era. I mean, it shows, Frank only had stuff he liked. That's Camco drums, Cinnamon drums, Gretsch drums.
Most days, he'll
That's
drop
Joe
in for an
Galvin
hour or
behind the
two,
counter.
take his pupils through their paces in the drum studios above the shop, or maybe just work out himself.
And I don't remember who the
That's
two
Shelton Gary,
students are.
right?
No,
It is? You know who that is?
no,
Shelton Gary.
no, it isn't. It's not Shelton.
It's not?
No. Now, there's two guys here. One guy's he's just a kid.
Now,
Shelton would have been working in the store at this era, I believe, or
now you know, it's what you
be just
got
prior
do,
to him coming.
that you let the stick play instead of the stick play you. Because you get the rebound off the percussion, off your drum.
It's just two guys here. Just went to a different.
Yeah, this is another student. Yeah.
I think this is the guy that used to play up at the Concord.
Well, that's what I thought. That's the single one. All right, Nathan. Can you play me the double gate? That's the rest. Yes, that's the rest.
No, tell Ron he doesn't have to sell his drum.
You don't have to. You already sold him. He's right here.
And unfortunately, those two toms and a bass drum would have been sold in the sale at the end when the store,
Yeah.
finally closed. The snare drum, Al had made it. Jane gave that to me.
What is that? That was nice of her.
Yeah, I also have Frank's last Clubbeck drum, which is just a chrome over brass cylinder.
Now, you imagine what it was like to be playing with Joe
In many
Jones.
directions. For instance, he shouldn't make his solo that long. The guy's got to go up and get a drink to take the rest of it.
You could. Joe, sometimes you'd walk in, you didn't know, the guy didn't know who he was. They just see the little cranky old guy running around the shop, One day it sinks in who it is, and you go home and look it up, and you go, oh my God, that was Papa Joe.
I have some very sad ending stories with him.
Yeah, well.
Very sad.
I don't know if I want to get
No,
into
we're
it.
not going to go there. We're going to say happy today.
I mean, he should be able to feel that he's losing the interest of the audience and quit. Give the signal for the band to come on in. Which, in my case, used to be, I haven't got a cowbell here, but I always, when I was getting ready to go out, I never had in my own band, I never had a stipulated amount of bars to play. But when I'd be playing along, and when I gave this signal, that would mean that I'm going to go out pretty soon, and of course I'd make a pretty obvious break as to where they should come in, like.
How is he playing this so fast? What's he doing?
It's secret.
What is it though?
I don't know. But there it is. We're looking right at it.
What is it?
It's magic.
Is he doing the fake fast thing? Like left, right, right?
I don't know what he's doing. But it's clean as hell.
Right.
I don't think he's faking anything. I think it's wrong.
Yeah, he's
That part I understood. But he's playing the fast time.
yeah. Looks like he's playing it like a ride cymbal.
He's just somehow doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at the form in his hands. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, Joe was one of those guys, if you recognized who he was and appreciated him, he'd stop and hang with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? He wanted people to know him and appreciate him, which I can understand
I
also.
mean, look at the personality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get rid of that. See, that's the end of that.
That's fantastic. Of course, I've seen that a million times, and it never gets old.
No.
No.
It just can't.
But the reason this came up is because you were asking whether he was actually a partner in the store, and because they say so in this video. The English guy says that.
Yeah.
And it's,
Frank would go, oh, yeah, it's my partner. No,
well, why not? You know.
yeah. People say, is Elvin Jones your partner? Oh, yeah, it's my partner.
Yeah,
that
Elvin's my partner. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. They were all partners. I don't believe there was a partner, ever. I think
I don't think so
Frank's.
either.
Yeah.
Frank was a smart businessman.
Absolutely.
He had it all together.
Yeah.
So Ron DeAngelis had a comment I want you to respond to.
No, you don't. You don't have to sell your 6.5 Superphonic hammered brass. It is different. You don't have to sell it. If you like it, Ron, it's fine. What counts is if it feels good and sounds good, it's a good instrument. The era of the construction and what they were using changed at places. When we get talking about these, the drum Allen has here is pretty much the hybrid of the one that I own that Andy Zub found for me in Chicago in a hock shop when he was out with Engelbert. So mine came along for $45.
You mean the one that you made for him?
No, he found me a Ludwig
Yeah.
and gave it to me, and I converted his Slingerland.
Two of the Ludwig.
No, to the double strainer.
To your design.
Right, as the thank you, because he got it so cheap he couldn't let me pay him for it. So I converted his drum
Oh, okay. So
back up in my family shop.
We have.
So I wasn't taking.
We have pictures of that drum.
Yeah.
Let me bring
He
that
says,
up.
laugh out loud, just kidding, thanks. You're welcome.
All right, so this
Pretty
is.
tight.
Right, and that's it. Well,
Oh, yeah, I like it. Yeah,
that
I
too.
like
Like
it.
it tight?
I
Yeah,
like
this
it
is a
high.
little.
Yeah.
We had them side by side on another video. This is up a little
So-
from mine.
So this is yeah I do like them because I go for the action. I really like rebound. So this is Andy's drum that you did.
Right, so Andy was out with Engelbert, and he had a endorsement at the time with Slingerland, and part of that gig was a big drum set. So the deep drum and concert toms and all that crap, because it was part of the staging. And I had just come up with this design, originally done for Charlie Callis, the actor-comedian and drummer, to mimic the sound of a wire and gut Ludwig Superphonic.
Yeah, well here's the
That
bottom.
was it.
So here's the design.
And
that
there's
you're
the
talking
bottom.
about.
Oh, there you go.
So what we did is we used aircraft cable, a la Hinger drums, Al's design, right? And the Radio King, or TDR, with the extended snares that were bridged, not mechanical, no rod going through the drum. So those would have been, in catalog numbers, NZ 2016 snares, a 20-strand 16-inch long snare that I cut down to 12 strands because they didn't make a 12-strander. And then I put the cables to the outside of it. So those 6 cables are 3 pieces of nylon-coated aircraft cable. If you're going to try to source it, somebody's looking at this, they want to make themselves a cable drum. It's deep sea fishing stuff. Nylon-wrapped stainless steel. You can find it. 120-pound test probably, something like that. They use it for shark fishing and piranha fishing.
Tim, what kind of repairs were people doing in those days? I mean, is this pre I want Gretsch drums but Yamaha hardware? It's way before that.
No, this is definitely in the middle of that.
No, at first it was Slingerland. I want the Gretsch drums but I put the Slingerland tom hole, right?
Right.
Wasn't that the first? I had that for a while.
So do I. I still have one.
Like Adam has those Gretsch have the Slingerland thing on them.
And
But then the Yamaha came, but people were doing that. Even then, the Gretsch hardware was horrible. The tom mounting stuff, it broke right away.
When there was newer stuff, I mean...
Those were the dark days for Gretsch, right? The 70s?
No. Actually, it's the most... As far as I'm concerned...
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the modern stuff, so don't take me too literally.
Yeah.
The new modern era of Gretsch drums is changed. You know, the ownership has changed back again.
Yeah.
The Gretsch family has some say in the company again.
It's quality stuff.
The era we're discussing is when the shells were made by Jasper and Baldwin Piano owned Gretsch.
Is that what mine were? The
Yes.
70s?
Yes.
That went out around and
Yes.
sucking them up.
Right. And
the hardware broke, the bass drum thingy.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
Exactly. So smart guys like me and
but
Adam
so you saw
didn't have that hardware on our Gretsch
but
drums.
you saw guys. Well, when I bought the drums at Manny's, that's how they came.
Right.
So guys were already doing that stuff in those days. You did those repairs.
1974, I was still in school. My Gretsch drums were purchased with Camco spurs and a Slingerland tom holder.
And what was
And
Joe's?
the cymbal arm was a Ludwig.
What was his go-to set that he tried to tell people to buy?
Who?
Frank.
Frank, yeah.
What was his? The
He
leading.
would tell you to make a decision on your own based on what you like between Signal and Camco or Gretsch, and they'd make them right. The Camco drums came in no holders too.
What was the thing about Ludwig that he didn't like?
I think they had an agreement with Manny's.
Oh.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I'm guessing, but I think it's probably no deeper than that.
And when Rogers was gone?
Well, he was a Rogers endorser at one point, but I don't remember us selling Rogers in the store back then. That would have been the CBS-owned era of Rogers, not the family-owned era.
Would you say
So
that
that
most
would have
people,
changed
most
the
people got the
marketing.
Gretsch drums?
We were known for selling Gretsch drums
Yeah.
with the altered hardware.
Yeah.
And we sold them by the truckload.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sold a lot of Slingerland drums. Sold a lot of Gonbop congas.
Well, in those days,
Nobody else was
what was
stocking
who had the most consistent quality of those manufacturers?
None of them.
Why is that? It
That's
was-
just the time and the era and the product and materials, and just like drumsticks, there was no.
Oh, that
today,
was a
drumsticks
dark era, man.
are
Yeah.
controlled. They're controlled.
It's incredible.
Yeah, but technology changes, things move along, new fillers, new ways of finishing them. Same with the drums. I mean, the metal drums will go back. This is a one-piece shell. It's got a seam that runs up and down in it. So does mine. You go a little older into the 50s, it's a two-piece shell, and it's silver soldered together at that
the middle?
bead in the middle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What was the all the companies had the same edges, right? In those days.
No.
No.
Pretty much the same, but not all. They weren't all the same. Gretsch's edge was definitely different than Rogers and Ludwig and Slingerland.
Really?
Yeah,
But-
Gretsch did a
but-
rounded over edge from the outside in.
But was that intentional by the companies for sound purposes, that they wanted to define their own sound?
Probably, but
Yeah.
who knows how accurate any of that. I mean, the great Gretsch sound. Give me a break. Most of them, a lot of the shells were out of round, oversized. Everybody covets the old. I got a round bad set of Gretsch drums. Who cares? I mean, you either got a good set of drums or you don't. It doesn't matter the real era.
Yeah, when you get a good set of Gretsch, they're magic. But
Yeah,
getting a good
you
one,
get a good
I have a feeling today it's easier.
with the Keller shells today on the American-made stuff, and there's
yeah.
more quality control in the shell to start with.
This guy across the street from me has a set of those Catalina Gretsch jazzy drums.
Yeah, and they're the Asian drums. Even they're
He's got like the heads on it says Evans. I don't know if they're really Evans or some Chinese Evans, but You know what? They sound pretty good.
Yeah, they're
man.
fine. Yeah, they're fine. If the shell was round, then even myself, I play a real inexpensive set of Yamaha drums for a lot of the work I do. And it's not a great instrument, but the fact of the matter is I don't have to think about them. I can leave them. If they disappeared, I can go replace them for a few $100s.
Who did you used to see in those days walking up to Ippolito's? Who were the? So you're talking the 70s, early 70s?
I was there late 70s, early 80s for me.
Late 70s. So Billy Cobham was a session guy then, or
Billy Cobham, I never met in the store. Billy Cobham, when I worked there, I met him in the store prior to when he was doing the Mahavishnu Orchestra stuff.
Right.
So that would have been before me. To be honest with you, I did meet him in there one day, but it was
So what knuckleheads? What guys did you see in those
everyone
days coming up? there?
Everybody was left in town by then.
Mel would come up.
Mel was always there. No, it was great. That's how I know Mel.
Wow.
The reason I know how to tuck a calf head is Mel.
Wow.
Who showed you how to do it?
Frank showed me how to do it.
Oh, okay.
For Mel.
Oh, 4 Mel. Oh, okay.
Absolutely. All of a sudden when it started to come together, wait a minute, this kid can run all those tools and can do all that. Tuck me ahead. I'm like,
Hold on, I'm not so smart.
I don't know.
I remember I used to buy calf heads and I didn't tuck anything. They just came like a regular head.
Yeah, but you could also retuck them. You could pick out your own skin, use your flesh hoop over again, and retuck it and set that collar right where you wanted
Okay,
it.
that's way above my zone there.
So that I learned from Frank. That's who taught me how to do that. He had the old school tools in the back end. There's 3 different levels to them to go in.
They
I
don't
did
really.
some timpani heads up at the Met way back when.
But wait a minute, the calfskin heads don't really ever wear out, right?
Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they do.
Yes,
They do?
Yeah.
Sure they do. Yeah, they dry up, they play through, they do all sorts. They'll work.
I've heard like they crack because you don't take care of them in the weather and.
Yeah, but
Do
you
they
could,
stop
you could wear them out
vibrating?
too.
They
I mean,
eventually
they
stop
start
vibrating?
they start getting like lint-like material
Oh
coming off of it.
yeah, they'll break down. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's organic material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still calf
You know,
skin.
the Beatles, all the early hits were done. Ringo had a calfskin snare head through the White Album, and then somebody dropped milk on it or something, and it got a hole in it, but all of that was a calfskin head.
Could have
Yeah,
certainly
no
been
kidding.
replaced
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
United Rawhide still existed back then. United Rawhide now is off into another company. The stockyards in Chicago where all that stuff came from are closed.
Mm-hmm.
So, animal rights activists, all that goes along with it,
So
really
it-
harmed
so
the
you
calfskin
can't
head
get a
industry.
calf head
You
these
can.
days? You can.
You can. I don't. I have it saved. I'll send you who it is.
How many people in those
Well, I
days
don't want
that went
one. I
in-
just.
Yeah.
You know,
How many people in those days that went into that store were still playing calf?
Just the real stalwart traditionalists. So Mel had stayed with calf on his batter side of his bass drum and his snare drum. When he made the step back to putting them back on all his tom-toms, I tucked all those heads. And I learned to tuck a head for him, and it was Frank who taught me. And that was on 46th Street. That was before Frank passed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was not in the 8th Avenue store. The 8th Avenue store, I didn't do a lot of repairs and that work, and I did most of my work in the 46th Street store.
So you were more the gopher guy? On
Absolutely,
40
yeah. I was the young kid going up down the steps, getting the heads and the
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah.
go get the cases, go find this tom-tom. I mean, I
And
drilled
Duffy
drums
he
back
did the
then.
heavy lifting repairs?
No, Al wasn't even there then.
Oh.
Tadashi would have been there then.
Okay.
And a fellow named Don was there for a while. Heavy set guy. He's got to be long gone. He was no kid then.
Wow.
I think they let Shelton drill one every now and then.
Yeah.
But I didn't really start working on the stuff on a regular basis until 46th Street. The automation, when I dropped in, when I put the router in place and all that, I did on my own, and that was actually that was after Frank passed. That I put that in. But we had a lot to work with there. We had the space was a drafting studio. All the old drafting tables were left there. So that huge workbench I had in the back was drafting table tops on top of filing cabinets. And we had all the parts
Yeah,
down underneath in those
that,
filing
yeah.
cabinets.
I saw that.
But that was like 4 drafting table tops.
I was back there a couple of times.
Yeah. And we had the locked cabinet under the phone where the phone came up on the post. Always had a bottle of booze in it. So if somebody came in,
That I didn't know.
that was if somebody came in a little hurt, they could sneak in the back and straighten up and go back out.
So in those days, guys, all
was
kinds
a
of
little
drummers was going up to that payphone and calling
It wasn't a
registers.
payphone. Look, man, trust me. There was a couple of key guys that we're discussing here today that knew there was always a bottle back there.
Yeah,
and it was by design.
It wasn't. One
You're in, let's have a drink. It was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was never aware of that.
Yeah.
So we only have we only have a few minutes left. So I'd like to let you tell us what's in the future for you. What you have booked. What's coming up for you.
Well,
So Tony season?
it's Tony season.
Tony,
I'm doing an
Tony.
American in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the drummer for the broadcast of the Tony Awards.
You're gonna play on the Tonys.
I have for about last 6 or 7 in the orchestra.
Yeah.
So
I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys would know this stuff. You Broadway guys.
And then I have these 2 concerts coming up with. I do this thing every Memorial Day and July 4th with the National Symphony, the PBS broadcast,
The
the
fireworks.
Memorial Day concert they call, and then the other one is called the Capitol 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So I go down there and sit in with the orchestra playing.
You do a solo, you mean?
I do a lot of solos. I take my shirt off. No, I do no solos. No, just because they don't really have a guy in the band that plays like a pop kind of drum set.
Right. Yeah.
So me and Ira Siegel, the guitarist, we go down.
Ira, would you say hello?
Yeah, we sit in and
Yeah.
and so that's going to keep me really insanely frantic.
Say hello to Ira for
I
me.
definitely
I worked
will.
with him. Was it in Philadelphia?
He's a super talented guy.
Yeah, he's really great. Musical director. He was wonderful to work with too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I never saw that side of him.
Yeah. He was. What was the act? The jazz vocal, Manhattan Transfer.
You sure it was Ira Siegel?
No, I'm thinking about.
You're thinking of Shalom Benechem, whatever.
No,
his name is.
no. Ira Siegel's a guitar player.
Yeah.
That's the guy I'm thinking of.
Really?
He did.
He used to work for Kashif a lot.
Now, I remember doing a gig for him as the
Wow.
musical director for
Okay.
Manhattan Transfer
Wow. Okay.
in Philadelphia when there was some comedian up in front of us.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe I'm hallucinating. I took a lot of acid in the 60s, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for that. That sounds great, Warren. I mean, you're really doing well, considering the business is shrinking.
I'm trying to keep people from yelling at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm on the defense.
Right.
I have low expectations. I'm on the defense.
Well, I think that's the safest place to be, probably. And you're retired.
No, I still work.
Retired.
What are you doing?
He
I have a
works
real-
all the time.
I work for the Keller companies.
Okay.
So I don't work in the division that makes the drum shells, but let's be honest here. I am employed by a company called the Calwall Corporation, which is the largest of the 7 Keller companies. So in my day job, I sell large architectural skylight and window wall systems, like the roof at Yankee Stadium over the exhibition
Is it
area.
bad that you're not at work right now?
I am working right now. I just checked my phone. This is lunch hour.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I'm working.
Okay, because this.
No, that's.
Hey, this Tim, man.
This
You
is
should be
lunch
working.
break. I am. I made 3 calls on the way here, and I'll make a few more on the way home. It's I'm the Bronx is my territory. I just stepped out by a few blocks to sit here and do this with you. When I'm at your place, I'm looking right at projects I have going, and I don't make drums per se anymore. When I left. I have a few going. I got the one going for you and Adam and one other. One of these days I'll get them done.
Adam Nussbaum?
Yeah, but to me, I kind of told myself when I left this. I was at Frank's for a long time. It's where I gained this knowledge and put it together. When I knew the store was going to close, after Frank had passed, Joe Casadas was and still is a dear friend of mine. I wasn't a student of his. He was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
That I knew through everyone else. And he lived up closer to me. He lived in Peekskill. So he was midway between New York City and where I lived. So I worked with Joe for, I don't know, maybe 2 years, maybe a little less, to get them up and going at the modern
Where
drum
was his
shop
store?
side
I
of
can't
it.
remember now.
When I worked with him,
46th Street?
it was on 46, right on the corner of 7th Avenue. It's now got a signpost going right through it where I used to be, right on the corner. But he had a few on 46th
Then he
Street.
moved to 30th Street?
Then he moved down in the rehearsal district in the 30s until he closed, and he's in Ohio now. He's going to move to Florida. I speak to him about once a
Wow.
month. He's 83.
Jeez.
Wow.
'83.
His wife was a big deal in advertising.
Yes, his wife was a partner in a larger advertising firm in New York, so had the double income, no kids thing going for him.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So they did well.
Yeah.
And
the store did-
unfortunately, Kathy passed with breast cancer not long
His
after
wife?
she retired. Yeah, she passed.
Oh man.
Working all that, and then it's time for her.
Yeah, and there was Joe was older, so it was a reverse passing.
Should have happened the other way around.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note.
Well, no, that's the truth. I mean, and everybody knows what's going on. But
Yeah.
when I left, I left. Joe would call me every now and then, like a few years after I left, and go, "Hey, I got this guy here. Wants your number? Can I give him your number?" I'm like, "You can give him my number. I'm not gonna make him anything." He goes, "I know you're not. He's driving me crazy." Because I didn't want to harm anyone I left behind. I didn't want me building a drum in Hyde Park
Yeah.
to hurt what Joe was doing in Manhattan.
Sure,
He
right.
was doing it every day.
Was
I
Joe's,
didn't leave the percussion center to go to Joe's to hurt the percussion center. I knew it was going to close.
was Joe's business successful?
Yes,
He made nice drums.
absolutely.
Yeah. Was he the one who did the first split drum design?
No, the first split drum design that I'm aware of was Al's.
It was Al's. Okay.
Yeah, and I played on a set of them as a kid. So my teacher as a kid up home was a fellow named Charlie Morano, and Charlie was dear friends with Jake Hanna. And Jake had a set of brown Slingerlands when he was in town before he went out to California with the Merv Griffin show. It was a 20, a 12, and a 14. They were walnut finished. They weren't wrapped. They had that satin finish Slingerland was doing. Just prior, so late 60s, it would have still been the consolette holder prior to the new one with the ball.
Yeah.
And bass drum was cut in half. The floor tom-tom was cut in half and shortened. And the 8x12 would not go in the 14x14 because of the lug
Right.
distance. But if you put Gretsch Gladstone single tension casings on it, it would. So Jake's drum set around town, it's consolette holder, Gladstone lugs on a 12-inch rack tom from Slingerland, and a 14 cut down to 12. So the 12 went into 14.
Wow.
The 14 now, since it was cut down to 12, would go inside the 14-inch deep bass drum. And he had the bass drum case and the trap case.
I would
around
love
town.
that because I have the nesting set, but it's a 15-inch tom.
Those drums, he
don't
gave
like the
those drums.
15-inch
Yeah,
tom.
he gave those drums to Charlie.
Listen,
I played
guys,
on
this is getting overtime and deep. And
we're over. We're good.
And Ron DeAngelis thanks us for taking the time out for doing that. I want to thank.
And he doesn't
Ron.
have to sell a snare drum. It's even
Yeah,
better.
I want to thank Ron for watching, and I want to thank everybody else.
Lurking.
And Randy
Lurking.
Birdculp, who's watching, lurking, as he says. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us today, and I hope it was entertaining. And there will be an archive on this for sure.
Cool.
As soon as I can get it together.
Now I got to go back to work. Lunch is over.
Does
All right.
screen make me look fat?
Yes. I thought you lost weight till you
I
came
did.
in.
What do you mean?
Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time,
Wow.
and keep practicing.
Warren, you're famous again.
You guys are like just too much fun.